All right, welcome everyone. We're Semblance of Sanity. I'm Caleb.
I'm Jacob.
And we're here for
Legend of the Galactic Heroes, episode 101.
All right.
Big Trouble in Little Heinesen.
Mhm.
Yeah. Uh-huh.
And they're married.
They are indeed.
Yeah,
Yep.
yeah.
That's right.
Our boy and our girl, they're actually together.
He married that dwarf. And you know what? It's all going to be smooth sailing from here. There's going to be, a couple hiccups here and there, but everything's going to be fine.
Yeah.
Because DeVille is not Rubinsky when you think about it. And he is,
true.
when it comes right down to it, a two-bit villain with petty ambitions. And he will be defeated as such.
But will the Empire stand alone? Will the Empire get merely maybe a bit, taken advantage of by the Isolon Republic if something does happen that starts to undermine, Reinhardt's rule?
Sure.
Like,
or will they use that, convince them to use that ability score increase and put it all into Constitution,
Damn, dude. You're 2 for 2. This is really good.
But, we will have to see.
We'll have to see. So, y'all, without further ado, let's get into this. All right, everyone. Now be sure to go check out the reaction portion of the video in the description below, then come back here for the discussion.
Well, shit.
All right. So, Julian has made his decision.
Go to war.
They're going to go to war.
Okay.
And the decision, by being made here and now, there's this combination of factors that all come into play here to make us really believe the decision needed to be made.
Right.
And this is really cool because while the pacing has been a lot slower, they've been doing a lot specifically with getting into the head of a lot of the big players on the political sides of things of both sides here. So Julian thinks, okay, I've got a duty to lead these people. But also, I have a duty to the way of government of Republican democracy, but this is not an obligation. This is something more. This is a right.
And it's the same for all of the people who still follow me. Right? Even though we gave the chance for all the people to desert if they wanted to, that doesn't mean they're now beholden to me. Good stuff. Yeah. But then with the decision of going to war, right? I love how he came to that decision because it's something where, one, it's helpful in a story that, heavily features, space battles and things like that, to have a kind of final space battle or something like that, towards the conclusion for that sort of, dramatic finale.
I mean, that hasn't necessarily happened.
That hasn't necessarily happened yet, right? But, it's like, I'm definitely excited for the idea of something like that, to see Julian, actually perform on the battlefield. But as for the reasons why, the idea that, okay, we're able to kind of piece together that the Church of Terra is behind this, right? We don't have to go to war, right? This is not like, they're conspiring and they can do their whole thing, but that doesn't necessarily affect our decision.
Right.
And there are the people that, want us to help them, right? Okay, cool. But then there's also the idea that if we don't, Reinhardt might lose respect for us, and then we might lose our bargaining chip, our negotiating power with him. But at the same time, we don't want to completely piss him off so much that then we just go back to war and then get crushed.
Right. In the story sense, I don't think we're headed towards some big climactic end of the series space battle. I kind of disagree on that front. I think what we're getting towards is the idea that Julian needs to battle Reinhardt directly. But space battles won't necessarily lead to any kind of victory on Julian's part. He needs to battle Reinhardt with the idea of almost the philosophy, basically saying that Yang won Reinhardt's respect and thus had multiple times where he outmaneuvered Reinhardt, I would say because Reinhardt valued Yang in some ways even more than his admirals. At like a point where he stopped thinking about, oh, I'm the leader of this galaxy, to, oh, I get so excited about the idea of potentially bringing you over to my side that, like, I might even, like...
Right.
Not
because Yang proved himself on the battlefield. Yeah.
Sure, yes.
Because otherwise, it's the whole thing of, like, it's the foundational stuff behind the words that are being spoken, right? Anybody can say, anything, right? But if they actually, like, back it up with action and then competence on top of that, then it's something where Reinhardt is like, okay, maybe they actually they actually have thought this through very, very deeply, and you know, maybe they've got a point.
Yeah.
Even if I still disagree.
Yeah, I just don't think that Julian has a shot in the dark or a chance in hell of actually engaging Reinhardt in a space battle. I think he needs to engage literally everyone but Reinhardt.
Sure.
And then basically say, no, I'm going to deny you what you want, Reinhardt.
Yep.
And I'm going to negotiate from this place of strength that I've won by beating other people along the lines of that.
Yep.
Because once the big fleet comes in and says, boom, like Reinhardt lays it all out on the table and he's like, battle me. He should be like, no.
Right, because Julian's thing here is not about whether or not he can beat Reinhardt militarily. It's the same thing as what we had with Yang when, you know, they had Iserlon before. It's that
I'll out-strategy you.
If we can out-strategy you and make it so that fighting us is too much cost, right?
Way too risky.
Whether because we're able to bleed your forces a bit, we're able to do all these other things. You know, you can't afford the economic drain of war right now when you're already having riots on Heinesen and in Old Alliance territory and things like that. Then it can be something of, you could crush us, but what would you lose in order to do that?
Yeah, you could lose your empire.
Right, and given that, then suddenly we've got negotiating power. We can say, hey, you know, work with us here, right? Treat us as an equal.
We'll deal with the Church of Terra.
Exactly.
We'll quell the underlying elements of civil disrest because they're going to look towards us as a way in which their ways of life can be restored. Because a lot of this can be simplified down to the Church of Terra is pulling all the stops they have to bring the galactic situation into chaos. Now, there's a lot of factors that built up the ease of which this can be made happen. They were talking about Ruintal draining Alliance territories of resources for the military campaign.
Yep.
That's a cool, like, simple way to bring this up. But also remember, there's been a century of war.
Oh, yeah.
And the idea of them having peace for a period of time, and yet they are occupying half of the galaxy militarily, means that there's a heavy drainage of resources just in general in order to keep the peace in that side of things. So this is not going to go away, you know, overnight or even in a few weeks. This is going to take a massive sweeping change politically.
Oh, yeah.
Which means I would say Julian's going to advocate for all military forces to leave Alliance space. Like, he's going to try and basically say, hey, you know this, I know this. The only way you guys will survive this economically is if you leave.
I'm not sure about that. That's something that definitely needs to happen eventually in order for there to be like a true status quo and things like that, right? Because if they, in the same way that they want...
It's so perfect because they'll return back to the beginning.
Well, see, so I don't think they will return to the beginning.
No.
By the end of this
Okay.
show. No, I don't think so. Because like, yes, well, there's the whole thing of like, okay, yeah.
The cycle.
The cycle and that they are still former Alliance territories and things like that. If you think about it, the Empire is former, you know, Golden Bomb territories, right? Like, it's something where the people need to be convinced that they want something different, right? And the thing is that they were happy to kind of go along with it before, because if they didn't go along with it, there was the military, you know, repercussions because they were occupied. Yeah. But two, it wasn't that bad, right? Like there was a decent carrot and a big stick if they did something, right?
Well, yeah. There was no really good alternative, I think, is the
sure, that too, right? Now it's something where they're not able to eat, right?
They're not thinking about alternatives. They're just like,
exactly, right?
We can't stand this,
right? Exactly. Yeah. Attenborough, you know, well said. It's who cares if there's some, you know, political reform and things like that. If you are starving, that's all that matters, right?
Yeah,
and like,
exactly.
Like that, I love that because I think it was even brought up earlier in the show when they were dealing with military food supplies, right? And the idea that, like, I think Yang mentioned that one of the most common reasons for
siege to end,
or military insubordination, right? And
sure,
like within a military or like group is because the soldiers weren't getting properly fed. Right.
Wow.
And that, you know, and that's something that, you know, something as simple as that, right, is so fundamental that you can't screw that up.
Yeah, that I think was also a thing that he talked about as being a student of history, because I know that's especially the case with regards to sieges back when fiefdoms and nobility and soldiers were conscripted from basically the fiefdoms of these nobility, and they were not there because they wanted to fight. They were there because they promised basically the, you know, the riches and what have you, but also they were obligated to by being protected by
your farm is
ruling,
in this area, therefore all able-bodied men.
Right, exactly. But then if they're treated like cattle, it's very easy to be like, isn't there just one family or one unit of like 100, you know, knights that, and there's like 5,000 of us?
Right.
We could just leave and they literally would not be able to stop us.
Right. It's that whole thing of see these, you know, civilized people, they'll eat each other. Right.
Yeah.
So in this situation where, you've got a food shortage problem that totally makes sense to happen, and also is, you know, being orchestrated, you know, by plotting behind the scenes.
Yeah, so it's exacerbated, and it's something that made sense to bring about.
Exactly.
Yeah, that's why they had the whole thing with Yosef, I guess, was to basically say that, oh, it's bad. Like, he just literally starved to death. They couldn't do anything.
Mm-hmm. And it was probably something, you know, where, right. Which, if you have a protector that is as loyal as that, and you still starve to death, that says something.
That says a lot.
That says
it's
a hell of a lot. Yeah, right.
So that's why I think Oberstein, like, immediately was like, this is Civil War level, like, uprising. We cannot.
Yep, we can't ignore
We can't
this.
let pomp or tradition or events, you know, interfere with
and
this.
If you think about that, that's a wonderful reminder of how easy it is for things to slip back into the issues that the Goldenbaum dynasty had.
Yep.
Right? Because something is, hey, it's the Kaiser's wedding, right? Come on, man. Don't bring work into this. That's a legitimate, you know, like, concern and complaint and all of that stuff. It's like, well,
sure, but
there's
thousands of people are dying.
Right. So sorry,
you know.
that kind of takes precedence or takes priority. You know?
There's a really, like, sad aspect of where the story is going from the side of the Empire, in that you look at the way things have become, and slowly but surely, just by the natural decline of number of people that Reinhardt can rely on.
Sure.
It's swiftly becoming a, get my best people on this. Let's see if we can do this. It's like, sir, that we only have so many of those.
Right.
And I think Julian's kind of naturally realizing this in almost a kind of a meta way of, oh, really? There are only a few characters of importance that would need to die, or, you know, be removed from things,
or be swayed,
in order for the Empire. Yeah, exactly. In order for the Empire to quite literally fall apart. And that's funny from the meta standpoint, but also from the standpoint of, wait, you're probably thinking exactly like the Church of Terra is thinking.
Oh, yeah.
And that they're like, okay, we kill Reinhardt's heir.
Yep.
And then, you know, Reinhardt and or Mariendorf.
Yeah. We've got 3 people now, but it's still not a lot, you know.
Nope, not a lot. No. And then maybe, you know, so more division between Oberstein, Mittermeier, and, like, you know,
nobody
Kessler.
likes Oberstein, you know, yeah.
Like, get those 3
sure.
still, like, kind of not really trusting each other.
The thing that happened in this episode, that, because, like, okay, you know, riots on Heinessen, that was established in the previous episode. Cool. The way they went into it was really awesome, and I love all of the thinking from the different characters at play. It really does a lot to, you know, keep their competence high in my mind, and show the tenuous nature of this predicament, right? But I think the complication that I love the most is, oh, navigational data just got wiped. Wait, what? Like, if not for Oberstein having the foresight to basically be like, back that shit up, right, in a place that, you know, no one will think that it exists, right?
Yeah.
Would it have just become something where suddenly Reinhardt can't actually get to the Old Alliance territories? Would Wallen have just been by himself? Like, because we've seen that the reason that, you know, they have to go through, like, Iserlohn corridor and things like that is because navigation is crazy in space. And
it's constantly changing.
Yeah,
they probably need regular updates. Yep. Now, what I'm guessing would have happened, Jacob, is that they probably would have been locked out of certain things for a period of time, not permanent.
Yeah, not permanently, right?
Like a week, you know.
Well, yeah,
or a month,
sure.
maybe.
Or I could see it potentially even being more than that. But
sure.
You know, they would get it back eventually. But during that period of time,
chaos could go.
Absolute chaos, right? Like, Yeah. So
yeah, but to be fair, that's the kind of thing where, like, Church of Terra obviously was at play there. There is no chance that had anything to do with any like random coincidence or anything like that. That was a very targeted thing where the Church of Terra probably had someone
Rubinsky, we need you to do
waiting for a long time to be like, okay, you are so loyal to the Empire.
Yes, absolutely.
You could absolutely be trusted to go into the navigation thing, and there you go. Yeah. You got the codes, and you killed the backups and everything. You know, just all in one go. And you know, you're gonna get caught.
Right.
You're gonna get caught. You would have to be perfect to get. And I love that they're like, oh yeah, this is an inside job.
Caught the guy immediately.
We'll say that there's an informant. Perfect.
Right.
Easy. Like this is a walk in the park for Kessler. And then the idea that they then found out, oh, okay, no, we got the real answer. This was Rubinsky. But like this is the kind of thing in terms of the deep security that they would have to have surrounding this. That means the Church of Terra could literally be anywhere.
Yep.
So I'm like, legitimately worried about like admirals at this point.
No, I know. We could actually have one of Reinhardt's admiralty just be like, psych.
I really hope it's not that. I hope it's more of the thing of where we have characters that are next to admirals that then just go sidearm, pop.
Yep.
And then they pop themselves, you know?
Right,
and it's
exactly.
Like that's how bad it could be.
Like,
Like the Oberstein little elements of like, he's been laconic, because I'm like, shit, that's a red flag. That's a death flag for Oberstein.
Oh God,
like we knew all this about Oberstein. We don't need to be reminded about that.
Maybe Fellner, you know, is just like, oh yeah, no, I just got close to Oberstein. You know, a long time ago, the Church of Terra was like, who are the most important, competent people close to Reinhardt, and they deduced correctly that one of them was Oberstein.
And
you know,
2 of them are dead. You know.
Yeah.
So we only have Mittermeier really left, and then Oberstein is more of like he's probably just the most competent man.
Yep. Like
in the Empire.
Like, can you imagine if Oberstein died before he had the chance to, like, you know, be like, no, back up that shit, or like if he dies afterward, and it'd be like when the person like leaves the, you know, the group or something like that, and then everyone starts to see the things that they did that they didn't realize, you know, and it's why is that plant dead? You know, who waters that? You know,
right. I really think that they set up Oberstein to die now, and now I'm just counting off characters that I'm like, okay. I'm like, all right, that's I guess just the way this is gonna go. Like I'm scared for Wallen, I'm scared for Oberstein. I've been scared for Reinhardt since episode like 30 of this show. You know, like I am. Okay. Bittenfeld. I loved your comment about
skinning him
Rubinsky on your boot so you can step on him every day. I mean, that's kinky, dude. But
I love it.
The one-liner is too powerful.
Oh yeah, like it's something where Bittenfeld, I feel like he's too single-minded to die in this show, you know?
Like, can you imagine a remake of this show and then it gets an amazing like dub casting? Who would voice Bittenfeld? like the amount of like personality they'd be able to throw in to every line. Oh my God.
Like he's just precious. I love him so much. And
all right.
But okay, Reinhardt is getting like a big fleet together.
He's getting everybody. He's
Mittermeier,
getting Bittenfeld,
you know,
Eisenach,
Eisenach, everybody.
This is I'm really excited about Julian potentially splitting his attention here.
Okay.
Because there seemed to be a couple things going on. One was that Merkatz was commanding the Hyperion.
Yes.
Not Julian.
Which is probably a good idea.
That's a good idea, but then what is Julian doing? Because what I think might be happening here, and this is something that is a bit of a read here, but I think they were trying to parallel the idea that Reinhardt isn't coming back for a while, in the same way that Julian might not be coming back to the Isolon fortress for a while.
Right.
What if Julian's play is to like use this chaos to get to Fejon? It's just, I need to go there.
That would be pretty crazy. on the one hand, I would love it, but like the only thing that I can imagine he would want to do with that is he'd be like, all right, Shunkov, get the Rosenritter. We are going to get a big cargo ship and sneak into Fejon and try and, like, you know, storm the capital, basically.
Yeah, I don't think they're going to do that, but the idea of having something where they could try and find a way to just maybe talk to Reinhardt.
Okay.
Like try and find some way. I really want this conversation to happen. I want Julian and Reinhardt to be sitting across from each other as equals. And all they're doing is talking about the future. There's this very clear understanding that it doesn't matter whether one of them or both of them walk out of this room alive. It's the idea that eventually one or both of them will be dead.
Sure.
Obviously.
Right.
What do they want the galaxy to look like in 10 years, in 100 years? I want that conversation to happen.
I do too.
And I
feel like that's more of going to happen once they negotiate peace terms and stuff, rather than like while the fighting's happening, if like they sneak to where Reinhardt is or something like that and like hold him captive and then they have that conversation or something like that. I don't know. I love the idea of the Rosenritter going to like Fejon, like or doing something like that, because in this situation the Empire is so huge that their real ploy against them would be outmaneuvering them. And they have equal access. They have the same access to the galaxy as the Empire does, because, you know, the corridor, right? They're in opposite choke points. So it makes sense for Mercats to go and deal with Wallen, right? And all of that stuff, and it'll be crazy and it'll be awesome and it'll be hype, and I'm very excited to see that fight. But yeah, I feel like
Julian goes the other way.
I feel like Julian will be going the other way. The question is how many people is he taking with him? What's his objective?
Is it a
Where's he
public
going?
thing? Like,
is it a public thing? Yeah. Like whole mess of things that, you know, we could get into there.
Right.
And we'll have to see for that. But we have had it established that there are smugglers that are very adept at getting things and people to and from Iserlon Fortress without the Empire knowing. So that could be fun.
Yeah. But okay. Iserlon's making a move.
So is Rubinsky.
So is the Church of Terra.
Yep.
So is Reinhardt. So is Wallen.
All right.
This is the last 9 episodes of the show.
Yeah.
Let's get into it. So, y'all, thank you so much for watching this episode's reaction and discussion. If you want to see the next episode's reaction and discussion right now, though, go check out the link in the description below. For our Patreon, you can get an early access there. You can watch full-length timer reactions there, and all this comes with Discord access. You can chat with us in the community there about this show, about anime in general, and also be sure to check out our Twitch channel.
We stream every weekday. The info's in the description.
Yeah, so if any of that interests you, we'll see you there. But until then, we're Semblance of Sanity. I'm Caleb.
I'm Jacob.
And we'll see you all next time.